Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Right, sorry, Sam. Sorry, mate. It has been one of those days. I mean, I nipped out, had to go out before the recording. Before I left the house, couldn't find my Oyster card. Then I got back. The trains, the tubes are a nightmare out there. I don't know why. Maybe it's the heat. Maybe it's the time of day. Sorry, mate. Delayed. Got.
Right, no problem at all. A couple of things to take from that. Number one, and you are well aware that you're thinking probably the same. How topical. Is
a little ironic under the circumstances.
That shall all be revealed very shortly. And equally, Oyster card.
Yeah.
You just use your normal card. What's up, Grandad? Come on, get with the times.
Because I'm Grandad, mate, I get a Oyster card what I don't have to pay with.
Oh.
Yeah.
In which case, I retract everything except for Grandad.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Grandad here can just travel for free when they bloody well turn up. But there you go. It's another story.
So and yes, to go back on the other point, the reason we said it's topical, it's ironic. We have a guest today, and funnily enough, travel and more specifically the tubes are quite close to his heart. Now he's a colleague of both of ours, someone we've both worked with a lot, a lovely bloke. And he's here. We know he's in the waiting room. So I don't see any point in us rabbiting on further and
no
cliches and saying what have you and blah 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 blah. Shall we just get the man in to tell everyone why your tube being delayed is rather appropriate?
I think that, and even more so, why being in the waiting room is even more appropriate.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Very good. Yeah, no, I mean, I had thought of that, and well pointed out.
Yeah.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, enough of that. Here is the very, very talented Mr. Tim Nixon.
And ladies and gentlemen, it is our great pleasure to welcome the wonderful Mr. Tim Nixon. There he is. Hello, Tim. How you doing? We're waving.
Hi, Drew. Hi, Sam. How you doing? It's good to see you. Lovely to have been invited onto your podcast.
Oh. Well.
He's starting off polite. That's nice, isn't it?
I mean, I was going to say someone who we both know well. So why should we not bring you in? And actually, and I'm jumping in early doors, but we're going to get you to do the proper intro of who you are in a second, Tim. But a unique start to what we do, I would say. I would say there are very few people that have taken your route to get where you are now. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
Was that a pun there, Sam? Sorry, was that a pun? I interrupted you.
Not deliberate, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I did used to drive on the Circle Line at one point, so yeah.
Amazing.
In a roundabout way.
Oh dear! Yeah. Right, we'll draw an end to shit puns. Mine wasn't deliberate, but anyway, as Drew said, the lovely Tim Nixon is joining us. A man who we've both had the pleasure of sharing a stage with, or certainly a hotel floor in place of a stage. But rather than either of us trying to tell everyone who you are and not do it justice, Tim, introduce yourself to all the watchers and listeners of Drewling Samantics. Who are you? What do you do? Why? How? All that kind of stuff.
Right, my name's Tim Nixon, and I am an actor. I'm 64 years old, and I came to the professional game rather late in life. I spent 37 years and 6 months exactly, and there's a reason behind that. Working on the London Underground from various roles, starting out as a guard in 1979, working my way up to driver, and then we went one person operated in 86, and then I became a trainer in 2000 and 2002. That's right. And I did a couple of secondments, went in the offices at Broadway for writing the training packages for the new trains. I did a 6-month secondment as duty manager at Harrow on the Hill. And then in 2017, I was looking at things and I was thinking, do you know what? I'm not going to get the job permanently as a manager. They don't want people who know what they're doing. And No, it seriously, they wanted to get rid of all the experience.
Wow.
So because every job used to be promotional.
Mm.
You used to have to work your way up after so many years. And when they started giving managerial jobs, duty manager jobs to people who were in their very, very, very early 20s who'd done nothing, you think, well, what's the point?
Mm.
So I had been acting as an amateur since the late 90s. And I thought, you know what? I shall try and make it as an actor full time. So I took my pension early, took a hit on it in 2017. We had a year out. We did a bit of travelling. And then I joined a few extras agencies. And in that year was my first year with Comedy Dining.
Indeed. Yeah.
Christmas.
Which is where we all met. But
this is where we met.
Yeah.
And I mean, as they say, cliche or not, the rest is history. But it's an intriguing one because it's kind of almost the opposite of what a lot of people experienced when we had the unwelcome guest. A lot of actors, performers, whatever, couldn't do that anymore for obviously different reasons, but ended up doing a 9 to 5 or certainly a job that's more recognised as a regular thing. And ended up stuck in it and sort of went, well, actually, I like the regularity of the wages. I like it's something that I know what I'm doing. And there's no sort of here nor there. It's very regular, very sort of standard. You've gone completely the opposite. You were fed up of doing that 9 to 5. Well, obviously, it wouldn't have been 9 to 5. It would have been shift work. But and of all the professions to choose, you've gone for one that's probably the least predictable, the least reliable, but having a bit of fun doing it. And if I may say so, bloody smashing it, mate, because you haven't stopped.
Well, I've been very lucky to have get taken on in various things. Comedy Dining was one, that was regular work. And the last 2 years at the War of the Worlds, because that's regular as a freelancer. But I've had various other little plays and films and that, and I've picked up quite a decent amount of roles. And I've travelled all over the world. I did a film in Croatia 3 years ago, and it's pretty much 3 years ago this week because it's come up on the memories. Yeah, where I was portraying President Nixon.
Oh, I mean, you were born with the name ready for it. Literally,
exactly.
Couldn't have asked for more. But yeah, so take us back a bit and take us to sort of the early stages. So you said obviously you were doing amateur work. So I'm guessing mainly theatre.
Yes.
What sort of steps did you take? So as you said, you quit working on the tubes, or you retired early. You did your sort of year of travelling with the wife. Then how did you then instigate sort of going, right, now I'm going to do this acting lark properly? So you said you joined extras agencies. Was it just extra work you took on to begin with?
Well, that's what I initially thought I was going to do. Join out of extras, and I thought the work would come in. I thought there's loads of work for extras. No, there ain't, because there's so many extras. There's thousands of them. They're all chasing and the amount of work I've had as an extra is minimal, really.
Wow.
If I get 5 or 6 days a year, I'm doing well. Wow. It's not regular at all. But that's not a problem because it's not really what I wanted to do. No. You know, I wanted to be, an actor. And as I say, the first real gigs I got in 2018 was with Comedy Dining.
Wow.
Because I got taken on for Christmas because they were advertising for the Christmas rush.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
You see? So I was pulled on with that. And our first show was right at the end of November that year. That down in Bexley Heath, down in Bexley.
Is that yes, I remember it. Yeah. So just to clarify for people that perhaps haven't been with Drewling Samantics for long enough to know, Comedy Dining is how Drew and I met, as well as how we both met.
Absolutely.
Immersive dinner theatre themed on old retro British comedy. Yeah. So and you started out, Tim, obviously, I say obviously, people may not know, but the Cockney accent being there, and I'm sure you won't mind me saying the height was fairly ready-made as well.
Absolutely.
As Drew did, although Drew had done previous things as Manuel, you were both Del boys. When back in the days where we were able to perform tributes to Only Fools and Horses, and as you said, so you kicked into that. Had you ever done impression work before, or even attempted to do anything like that?
No, not at all. This was all new. But I had done immersive dinner theatre with players with the Amdram Society, because we hire ourselves out. We have specific murder mystery plays, and they are plays. We actually have a stage. Yeah. It's not like comedy dining but we do go into the audience for questioning. But we perform these plays. So I'd done immersive dinner theatre before, so I had that experience.
Yeah, I would say if you hadn't, I mean, that's for actors that are seasoned actors with respect to yourself, and we've said it in the past, it's not an easy thing to do. You're not on a stage with a gap between the audience. You're in amongst them, and that can be really intimidating. So, I mean, thank God you had that little bit of experience, because it can be, particularly when you're playing a well-known part as well.
Absolutely.
You're there with the audience right in your face. So, I mean, thank heavens you had that. But, and then it moved on from that. I mean, I would say Sam said, we've all worked together, you and I, more recently. But I mean, then what happened then to take you from the interactive stuff to more, should we say, traditional, plays and film work, which you've done loads of?
It was really just joining the casting platforms, Mandy, Backstage, because at that time I couldn't get onto Spotlight, and I didn't have an agent, so I was basically started off doing student movies. So I've got the experience, and of course you get to know people as well. And then it started getting not better parts, but better paid jobs, so to speak.
Yes.
And there was a few plays as well that I put myself forward for and got involved with those. And it sort of built from there. And you end up kind of networking in a way. And of course, because it helped with Callan Durrant.
Yeah, friend of the podcast.
With Call Me John.
Been on the podcast, yeah.
Yeah. Doing Call Me John last year and the year before.
Yeah, of course, which we promoted on here, being that I'm on the board of directors for the company for Reflex Theatre and was involved in the writing of that. A huge collaborative effort in that kind of company. But again, going back a bit, so you were doing your extras jobs, you were doing comedy dining. Can you remember what your first sort of big role in a film or a short was? Can you remember the one that sort of started the ball really rolling?
It was a film called The Regulars, right. And we did a week's night shoot at a pub in Brickenden in Hertfordshire. And the guy called Rory Edwards, it was his master's, his final year film, and it was like a zombie ghost story. And he takes his son back to this pub where his missus disappeared. His lad's mum disappeared years ago. And it's a comedy. Right. And it was a great shoot. Great fun. Hard work doing the sort of 6 nights. And that's the one that kickstarted it all, really. And I did a couple more after that. But that was probably one of the best ones. And it's still on my show reel.
But I guess for you, night shoots not such an issue because you will have had night shifts working on the tube. Well, so adjusting to things like that wasn't such a problem.
Not at all. As I say, nights on the tube is a regular thing coming round. It's one of the better shifts because you've got that nice big gap in the middle when there's no trains running.
That is, yeah.
Yes, that was there.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you're on the bits where I have night tube now, but that's a recent thing. But yeah, that was probably the first one I did that I can say that's kickstarted it. And I did a few more after that, and then God, it's hard to say really because I've done so many things over a period of time. I've got involved with stuff that it's hard to remember when things were. Do you know what I mean?
That's your old age, mate. Drew gets like that as well. It's fine.
No, it's interesting because you make that leap from all those years a successful career, working for the Underground, London Transport, whatever, and then you make that leap. I suppose it takes all the fear away. You'll just have a go at anything, because I don't know. I wonder, was there ever a moment of fear of like, what the hell have I let myself in for, or did you just go, sod it, let's just jump and see what happens?
I think it was a case of sod it, let's jump and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because I do like being on stage. One of the big things I do like being on stage. So to me, live theatre is one of the best things, and doing the immersive theatre was fantastic.
Yeah,
to a great degree, because it's live. You're there, and you're on your toes all the time because you don't know what's going to happen. And let's face it, you two know as well as I do. Some of those audience members can be a bit.
Yeah, they're a bit different, aren't they, when they're this far away from your face, rather than
they've had a few of those.
Yeah, and as you say, had a few drinks and stuff. And I guess to coin a phrase, a baptism of fire, to go from only knowing sort of amateur theatre performance, and I'm not talking about the quality levels, but I'm talking about perhaps the expectation of an audience, to go from people who are going to watch an amateur dramatic society perform a show, realistically probably paying considerably less than you would for a professional show, and people just sort of, quite often those audiences will be friends or family, because that's how they know about it a bit more. Obviously you do get general public going along, but it's a big step from that to then these commercial public shows for professional companies. And I guess, like I say, the expectation is far higher. Did you find that took adjusting to, or did it just feel sort of natural?
I think it felt kind of natural. One of the plays I got involved with early on was like a semi-professional one. It was Fiddler on the Roof, and I was drafted in at the last minute, really, because they needed someone to play the constable. And it was sold on me by no singing, no dancing, minimal rehearsal. I said, well, the point being is that I'm away in Italy for a week, and I was doing a show with Ricky Players at the time. To do that, I had a holiday and come back, and it was about this time last 6 years ago, and we were at the Theatre Royal in Windsor.
Oh, nice.
And that was my first real experience of a professional theatre, the big theatre itself. What a wonderful venue.
Beautiful.
And it was a good production, but it was, I think, partially sponsored by Jackie Palmer Dance School in High Wycombe,
right?
Because we used their rehearsal halls. But as I say, that led on to other things. Again, I met other people through there who put me in touch with other things, and it's just put myself forward through Mandy and backstage and all the rest of it until I finally managed to get a decent amount of credits and get on Spotlight. And then I found I've got myself an agent.
It's interesting because, Sam and I have talked between ourselves and with other guests about, excuse me, that promoting yourself and getting out there and having the motivation. And some people do, some people don't. But I've got a calling card. When I first started out my calling, I've been to a drama school. Some people don't, but you had, with great respect, you came from one career. You had nothing there to go, well, I can do this, I can do it. So you had to make people believe. And I think it's great because you got to rely on your talent. You've got to rely on your likability, your professionalism, all those things, which are unproven, until you make those breaks, until you get 3 or 4 people who go, oh, I know Tim, lovely bloke, give him the job, or they ring you up and go, do you want to work for us again? And you say, during all that, while you're building those contacts up, you're still the self-promotion. You're still having to sit there every day and go through all the casting platforms and find the work and promote yourself. I mean, has it ever been, have you always enjoyed it, or has it ever been, and I say this to, if anybody's listening that is coming into the business now from whatever angle, is it ever been so daunting? Because it is getting a very overcrowded, but have you ever sat there and gone, do you know what? I don't think Have you ever? I mean, we all have those moments of doubt. I know I have. You know.
I think maybe yes, but on the other side of it, with people I speak to, and I think even yourself and Sam, because of my age, I haven't got as much competition for parts because a lot of the older people have either given up, moved on, or whatever. I'm not in that oversaturated 20s to 30 bracket.
Yeah, well, you and me both, mate. So yeah.
Hang on, 20s to 30s, I'm not in there either. I mean, as much as I'd like to be. I think we're all...
Your playing age, darling. It's your playing age.
Oh, bless you. It's all hair dye and fake teeth, mate. None of it's real. But, yeah, I think we've sort of referenced it before, and it's... Obviously, having only come into the business relatively recently, you've always had or have always been aiming for similar sort of roles in regards to your age, your look, how you come across. Whereas someone like Drew, and we'll take height out of it because he stopped growing when he was 4, but everything else, colour of the hair, the appearance and playing age, you've gone through the whole spectrum, Drew. So you perhaps have actually seen firsthand that how it's become not necessarily easier to get roles, but less competition for certain types of roles.
Well, I was told when I left drama school, when you get to 40, you'll never stop working, you know, and I was 21, 22. It was like, oh, Christ. But Tim's right, because nowadays, I mean, there is an influx of actors that left the business, maybe in their 30s, 40s, had families, and have come back into the business. There's a small influx, but like you said, Sam, during lockdown there was a lot of people who left. And if you are hanging on, I've been for a couple of castings and that, and people have said, you're still doing it. You've not left. And I went, no. I never wanted to leave. Because I'm, out of sheer bloody mindedness, or I like it too much. I'll always find something, and it was true. When I got to 40, I kind of grew into my height, my looks, and it has been good. It's there's a lot of work. I mean, I know Tim's the same because we did. There is work, and you go, shall I? And you go, no, I'm pushing my luck on that one. I'm pushing my luck on that, But there are other ones you go, do you know what? I am going to suggest myself because I think I have something else to offer. And Tim and I are both, of an age, both character actors. And I think there's a lot to be said, as Tim, as you said, Tim, for hanging around, for being an actor of our age in the business as it stands at the moment, because it is, and we're interesting as well. Not that you're not interesting, Sam, but when you get to our age, people will look at you and go, "Well, what have you done?" And you look at Tim, your casting team, and go, "So, what have you done?" I used to be a tube driver for 30 odd years, and they're going to sit there and go, "Wow!" And the casting directors like people that are real, and have had life experience and can stand, and be somebody else, be real. And I think that is one of, not only are you good, Tim, but also that's one of your big selling points. Is you're the real deal, mate.
Oh, thanks for saying that's very kind. Because it's not for me to say how good I am. That's for other people to judge.
Exactly. Yeah.
I go in, do what I can do. If they want me to do something a different way, I will try and adjust my performance or whatever. But it's up to them to say you're good enough. I can't say that. I think I'm good enough. But there again, I have my doubts. Like most people in this business, I would say we all have our doubts about our ability, and it's up to others to do so. To say, well, no, I like you. I want you in my play.
So what is, and I appreciate it's probably not an easy question to answer, but is there a goal? Is there not necessarily an end point, but is there something you're aiming towards that you particularly want to achieve?
I want to be a working actor who to be known for good roles. I want to do good work. I want to be known for being an interesting actor who I will take on roles, and I want people to say, yes, he was good. And he he wasn't afraid to shy away from things. I mean, I've done Shakespeare a couple of times, and that's hard. Some Shakespeares are quite hard. And I'm quite happy to go on it. But I've got an audition next week for a play. I don't think I'm physically right for it, was what you were saying, Drew. It's for a, I suppose I should, it's for Hermann Goering.
Wow. Okay.
In a play, it's a play called Through the Judas Window.
Wow.
And it's set in his cell at the Nuremberg trials. And basically he's talking about justifying his political stances and his stealing of all the paintings that he had. It's quite involved. I've read the script. I'm halfway through it for the second time. It's really quite interesting. It's an interesting story. Whether I will get it or not, I don't know. As I say, physically, I don't think I'm right. I'm not tall enough. I certainly don't think I'm broad enough either. But
isn't it interesting when you get offered stuff like that? Sorry, Sam. That you look, and you go, what is it in me that they saw, and what is it in me that I think I could do it? You know, because you know, as actors, hopefully, fingers crossed, we are offered interesting stuff, and you get those, and you go, wow, never thought I'd be sitting here looking at this with a possibility of playing it. So that's, but I'm with you. My going back to what you said, right? When I left drama school, years ago, people said, "What do you want to do? Do you want to?" I said, you know, I don't see myself becoming a star. I'm not seeking, celebrity as it's now known. I just want to be a good working actor who gets offered interesting stuff by people who like working with me. Yeah, that's all that's all you can strive for, isn't it? Really,
I think so. And as I say, I'm in a play at the Cockpit Theatre at the end of July. I'm playing a dotty old American retired lieutenant colonel who forgets where he lives. I thought not much acting there then.
No, just the American bit.
Yeah.
No, it's an intriguing one because it was quite a silly question to ask because it's not like any of us really have one end goal. I mean, I guess there are actors out there who go, I want to be Phantom in Phantom of the Opera, and once I've done that, great, I'll stop. But I think they are probably few and far between. But it is, you want to do interesting things. You want to be challenged. You don't want to phone in a performance. Not that any of us do necessarily, but you don't. Realistically, Drew, you don't want to see a casting come up that's looking for a man in his 60s who is a working actor, has been all his life. He lives in London. He wears glasses. You don't want to be Drew. And that's kind of the point. There are those jobs that come up where we can be ourselves, which sort of brings me to where I was going to go with this. Have you ever been asked, Tim, to be a tube driver in something? Has that come up yet?
No. Was there something? No, not quite. But obviously, I was Santa on the Polar Express last year.
So, and again, another thing that you and Joy have got in common, you go very bearded around about November time, and it stays there till about January.
Oh no, this was stick on.
You're brave.
Drew's is slightly more authentic, but
so turning that on its head, is there anything from that past career that has can you dial into that at any time? You must have met. You've driven hundreds of thousands of people around. Have you met characters and know characters that you go, I can use a bit of him in this. The
amount of characters that I've worked with, certainly in the old days, because they got rid of some. When I started on the Underground, they were so short of staff. They were literally. You walk past Griffith House, you were bonked on the back of the head, bag over the head, dragged in. You were working for the Underground. Pretty much, that was the joke. That was the joke. They if you could stand up after a couple of sentences in English, you were employed.
Wow.
Then later on, as they wanted a better quality of person, which is understandable. There are people that I was working with; they never get the job now.
Wow!
But there are some real characters. But of course, there's always incidents as well. There's always certain things that happen.
Yeah.
That they shape the rest of your life. kind of
So
thing.
without obviously being too specific and pushing you too much, did you have were you unfortunate enough to have many incidents that
I had one fatal
well,
accident, and that was it wasn't someone who jumped under it was a track worker who didn't get out of the way.
right.
I come round the bend,
Oh,
it's still there. So, and that June the 23rd, 1994. So we come up to 31 years.
Yeah.
So those sort of things always stay with you. I won't go too much. I won't go too much into it, but it
don't
had a
need
great.
to, no.
It wasn't a pleasurable time. So and it stays with you for the rest of your life. But I know people that had 2, 3 suicides. You know, because it's a regular thing. Unfortunately, it's at least 1 or 2 a week. Even now, still you hear about it.
I met a guy at a party once who we were. Long story short, the guy I was at drama school with. We used to go to parties. He was quite rich, so we would end up at sort of these nice parties in South Ken, which we had no right to be there because we was grubby arse students. And they got 2 pennies to rub together. So we used to go along, eat all this lovely food, drink all the wine, and bugger off by the end of the evening. But we got,
Sounds like a
and
good
we
idea.
always, people used to say to us, "What do you do?" What, we never wanted to say drama students because it sounded. So we said we're plumbers, but we specialise in Victorian plumbing in these beautiful old Victorian Georgian houses. That is our speciality, and we used to basically bullshit about plumbing. And we've got this guy one night we were chatting to, and we said, "What do you do?" And he says, I work on a rubber plantation." And we thought then, oh yeah, you're just trying to outdo the bullshitters here, aren't you? But no, he told us all about his rubber plantation. But he had been a tube driver and he had 3 incidents and he went, that's it. What can I do to take me as far away from this as possible?
Yeah.
And he ended up working on a rubber plantation and worked his way up to be, I don't know, chief rubber man or whatever. But I was standing going, yeah, okay. Well, I might stop telling people I'm a plumber now because but that was his story. He just did something completely different.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah,
But I know people who they came off the trains. They found that sent other jobs within the underground, or had to leave medically. On some people, it just didn't. They just carried on. So it's one of those things, and you can't legislate for how you feel because the body, the shock to the body, it's just one of those things. You can't legislate. You don't know how you're going to react.
And a terrible thing for anyone to experience, and really appreciate you talking about it. I know we've very much gone off topic of what we normally talk about here at Drewling Samantics. So I'm going to bring it back round. Tim, it's been bloody fabulous chatting to you, mate. We always have a great laugh when we catch up or when we work together. Yeah. Well aware of how busy you are, because you are a man in demand. So we're going to let you get on shortly. But before you leave us, we would normally, well, not normally, but quite often we'll say to people, have you got like a funny anecdote or story? But rather than going that route, I'm just going to sort of slightly swerve or direct you, because I think to finish off, what would be great for our listeners and watchers to hear about is where they might most recently recognise you from. And I think you know where I'm going with this, because you did something quite big recently, but in fact, I'm not going to say anymore.
Big.
It was.
They were big.
Just try and explain what.
Are you referring by appearances Gary Swale on Last One Laughing on Amazon Prime, episode 5, where I spent my time sitting in the kitchen drawing certain items of the human body?
You did indeed. And
then became Ollie Mears.
Yeah. How did that come up? So, and we won't explain it completely, but people, Tim told you where you can find it. Go and watch it. Tim plays a cameo role of someone on a show who is then going on to, it's basically a copy of Stars in Her Eyes, isn't it? Essentially, everyday man who has a very strange habit or interest,
A
but also
hobby.
happens to be a singer. Yeah. Watch it and you understand. How did it come up though? That is the.
It was through one of my agencies I'm with, Talent Talks. They put out a casting call for it, and I just said interested and available, and they cast me.
So this wasn't even an audition based one. This was almost as a featured extra.
Did I have to do a self? I can't remember if I had to do a self tape. No, I think they wanted me because the other guy. No, I can't actually because it's spoiler alert. But
There's someone else involved who was already cast, I assume, at this point.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how that went. But we were in the green room because I had to go down on the first day and go to the location and film that bit in the kitchen. And Joe Wilkinson was in the garden. He was rolling up. He said, "Tim, this is just fantastic. You're just brilliant." Following day, we're actually taping the show. Yeah, because I only met Joe. I didn't meet any of the others because they didn't know I was there, obviously, because they're about to go and make them laugh. And I've watched it since then, and Jimmy Carr was in absolute stitches. But this was because it was round about last July we filmed it. Yeah, and it got broadcast first of about March or April, and all of a sudden I've got all these messages from all over Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp. Everyone going, "Brilliant! Have I just seen you? Seen you on the telly doing those?" Yeah. I had somebody, Vicky from the War of the World. She's in Australia with her fella. She said, "Nailed it, mate. So watched you in Oz."
Wow.
I heard about it because Callan, who we mentioned earlier, he messaged me and he said, "You'll never guess what Tim's been doing on national TV, or more specifically, you'll never guess what Tim's been drawing on national TV." And that, I think, is pretty much all we need to say on that.
Absolutely.
No more spoilers required. People, go and watch it. Tim, remind us where we can find it again.
It's on Amazon Prime. It's Last One Laughing, and I'm in the fifth episode.
I mean, watch the series. It's a great series. Very clever idea.
Yeah.
It is a clever idea.
If you want to see Tim doing, I mean, I've had some weird castings come into my inbox. Did it say exactly what it was in the casting? No. Oh, okay.
I had no idea until I got there.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. We literally can't say anymore because it gives everything away, and we really want people to go and see it. But to be last question on that then. When you got there and you had no idea, and they said this is what you're going to be doing, you must have thought they were pulling your leg.
I thought, yeah. Well, this is weird, but what the hey? Yeah.
That is probably the strangest job we've ever had on here as a single individual thing. And I dressed as a topiary bush for a job, and I still think yours as well. But Tim, mate, honestly, it's been such a laugh chatting. It always is. It's great to get again, and we'll grab a beer soon when I'm not on the old ridiculous shakes and what have you. But thank you so much, mate, for coming along. All the best of everything. We'll both be seeing you soon on shows, I'm sure.
Yeah. And, thanks ever so much, Tim. It's been brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Fantastic.
Thanks for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you both and see you both again.
Oh, bless you.
Lovely stuff.
Take care of yourself, mate. We'll speak to you soon.
Cheers. Take care.
Take care, Tim. Bye-bye, mate.
Bye.
You know, Drew, I've always loved working with Tim. And today is no exception to that rule. He's just a good laugh, isn't he, really? He's one of the boys. He loves what he does. He's got entertaining stories, what more could you want from a guest?
Everything. He's just sat here and we've just had a wonderful chat with him and a great podcast and got, as you say, loads of stuff to say. But, when he opened up a little bit, it has so much backstory. You always talk about people who've got a past and that, or in whatever way. But wow, what he's done. And then, after 30 odd years, what he's achieved now is it just goes to show, if you're a nice guy and you work hard, sometimes nice guys do win. And I'm bloody glad he's winning because, as you say, and he's also just one of the nicest guys to work with.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He's
he's great to work with.
And generous actor, like he will always support on stage, and he's very quick thinking, and I tell you what, going back to sort of making the leap and changing everything up, what a brave thing to do. Having been doing the same thing, give or take, for 37 odd years, I think he said.
Yeah.
To just throw everything in. And maybe he was in a position in life where he was a bit more comfortable than some people, sort of throwing caution to the wind and then going for it. But it's quite the career change, and he's thriving. It's obviously proved to be absolutely the right decision, not just for him, but for all of us as audience members or colleagues and fellow performers. We are lucky that he made that decision.
We talked about risk a little while ago. Like you say, he could have sat back and gone, "I'm retired. I'll take it easy." But he's put risk on his shoulders and gone for it. And it's just we're all getting the benefit of Mr. Nixon's skills and decisions. So
exactly that. So do you know, Tim was our 5th guest of this season, which means this is our 10th episode of this. Which
means
we're 2/3 of the way through. How's that happened?
That's extraordinary. Good Lord.
Time does seem to fly when you're having fun. And again, it's a very cliche statement. I've thrown a few of those around today. But it's absolutely true. We're approaching the end of season 13. What is going on, mate? Life is just flowing along nicely. I mean, everything in the background's fucking falling apart. I mean,
it's shit elsewhere. Outside there,
and there's war everywhere. But I guess one small victory is that we're still here, still doing what we're doing. People seem to be enjoying it, and every week we get to have a nice old natter with the odd guest sprinkled in to just brighten our day up. So,
I mean, and you put it, and then next week it's just you and me, mate. Just sit back, chew the fat, have a laugh. There's a lot of things that could be worse, isn't there? There's a lot worse we could be doing.
Absolutely. So before we say something to make it a hell of a lot worse, because we tend to do that, should we just leave it there and say, everyone, thank you as always for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed.
Thank you, people.
Tim had to tell us. Do go check him out. You've got the details. Watch that episode. You won't believe your eyes. We certainly didn't. But until next week, have a cracking one, and we'll see you very soon. Take care. Ta-da.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks again for watching this episode of Drewling Samantics.
Please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video.
Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app. And please support us on social media. All our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so why not share with your family and friends so they can join in too? Thanks very much. See you next time.